A lone boat pushes across the gray waters toward the southern shores of China. Inside sits a traveling monk, silent and steady, his robe darkened by sea mist. His name will cross continents and centuries, a name spoken in temples, whispered in meditation halls, etched into legends, Bodhidharma. He carries no scrolls, no relics, only the discipline of meditation and a lineage that stretches back through generations of Buddhist masters. As he steps onto Chinese soil, he enters a world overflowing with ritual and scholarly debate. But Bodhidharma has not come to add layers to tradition. He has come to carve straight through it. His journey will lead him toward a mountain monastery, a quiet cave, and the birth of something that would reshape spiritual history. Zen. This is where his story begins. The earliest records describe Bodhidharma as a monk from the western regions, a vast zone stretching across India and Central Asia. His childhood, his teachers, his homeland, these details were never written down, but his destination was. He followed the trade routes east, carrying a form of Buddhism centered on dhyana, deep, disciplined meditation. When he reached China, he entered a landscape of ornate temples and intellectual debate. Yet Bodhidharma taught something different. A practice stripped to its core. Sit, turn inward, face the nature of the mind directly. A text from his early tradition, 2 entrances and 4 practices, reflects this method. Enter through principle, live through endurance, discipline, and detachment. As word spread of the foreign monk who spoke little but saw deeply, his path led him north toward a mountain rising out of the plains, Mount Song, home of Shaolin. Bodhidharma arrives at Shaolin seeking solitude, not recognition. The monastery stands quiet under the mountain's shadow. Nearby waits a small cave, a place perfect for uninterrupted practice. There, he settles into stillness, eyes open, back straight, facing the wall in absolute concentration. The records do not measure the length of his meditation, but they mark its impact. His presence and teaching form the root of Chan, the direct, experiential school of Buddhism that later evolved into Zen. One detail stands firm across the historical record. Documents from his era describe meditation, not martial arts. No early text links Bodhidharma to combat training or physical techniques. Shaolin's martial traditions would emerge later, shaped by centuries of development. What Bodhidharma brought to Shaolin was something else entirely, a path to insight through unshakable stillness. From Bodhidharma's teaching comes the breakthrough that defines Zen. Awakening is not found in words, it is realized directly within the mind. His method demands clarity over complexity, moments of silence over pages of theory, a direct encounter with the thoughts that shape and distort experience. This approach spreads from Shaolin outward, carried by students who discover that true discipline is internal. Zen temples arise. Meditation halls fill with the sound of quiet breathing. A tradition built on presence and awareness forms, all flowing from Bodhidharma's relentless simplicity. Though history gives us only fragments of his life, those fragments are powerful. A monk who traveled far, practiced deeply, and transformed the spiritual map of Asia through silence alone. From Shaolin, Bodhidharma's way of stillness traveled farther than anyone could have imagined. Not by armies, not by emperors, but by monks walking on foot, carrying only a bowl, a robe, and a teaching. Chan began to spread across China. In each monastery, teachers passed it on, not through rituals, but through direct experience. Silence became the classroom. Meditation became the scripture. And insight became the only truth. Centuries later, This path crossed the sea into Korea, then Japan, where they called it Zen, and turned meditation into a way of living, into tea, into swordsmanship, into brush painting, into each breath. What Bodhidharma planted was not an institution, it was a discipline, a way to cut through illusion. Zen masters who followed did not glorify him. They honored him the way he lived, in silence. They did not build statues. They did not create ceremonies. They did not ask students to worship him. They asked them to sit. For Zen does not live in stories. It lives in practice, not in chanting, but in stillness, not in complexity, but in presence, not in memorizing teachings, but in waking up. That is why Bodhidharma remains powerful, not because his life is clearly known, but because his teaching is unmistakable. A teaching that whispers, sit, look within, know your mind. Bodhidharma's story ends as quietly as it began, a monk walking alone, leaving behind no possessions, no monuments, only a practice that would echo for centuries. From his journey grew a tradition of clarity, stillness, and direct experience. Every Zen hall carries his influence. Every moment of deep meditation honors his path. And now his footsteps continue through us, anyone who sits, breathes, and looks inward. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss the next story. Thanks for watching.